Welcome back on your Saturday morning. Former President Jimmy Carter is spending his last days in hospice care. The announcement made just last month. So for many of us, we really haven't heard about this type of care, maybe for some of us, until the announcement happened. So we're sitting down with Rob Paulus this morning with Every Step. Rob, thanks for being here, going over some common questions people may have about hospice care. So I guess let's just start here. What's Every Step hospice care?
Well, Every Step is an organization, and hospice is just one of the arms of the care services we provide. Everything from labor with a young child all the way up to the end of life is the care we provide through that organization, and hospice is just that one arm that we provide to terminally ill patients. And
specifically with that arm or that branch of Every Step care, I mean, what goes into hospice? It's common to think about older people with hospice care, but that may not always be the case as well.
Yeah, usually people would associate that with people that are elderly, but for any person that is afflicted with a terminal illness, no matter what age, we're there to serve them too. Once either they've exhausted all of their medical treatments available to them, or they just decide that quality of life becomes more important than quantity. And so that's where people enter the realm of hospice. And hospice is really a place where it's a team approach, or a more of a holistic approach, to where not only do we have the medical people, but we have the social workers, we have bereavement counselors, we have spiritual counselors. So we're treating the whole person, not just the medical side of it.
Really interesting. I didn't realize that there was, I guess, that much staff or that much, thinking about different aspects of people's lives when they get into hospice care. So you kind of hit on it right there, but why do patients decide to go into hospice?
Yeah, it's kind of like I said, when they've reached the pinnacle of where they can get medical treatment, and there's no more medical treatment that they can receive that's going to help with their illness, or they've decided that I want more of a quality of life and not the quantity, going through treatments where there's side effects to those treatments that they're having, and maybe they're sick from those treatments, and they just decide in the days to weeks to months that they have left that they want that quality time with their loved ones. And that's what hospice can provide to them.
What are some common misconceptions that you think's out there about hospice care that float around?
Yeah, the one thing that comes to mind, and thanks for the question, because I think that's an important thing to talk about, is that a lot of people think it's giving up. And it's not giving up. It's you're surrounded by people that care about you, and we're working with all those different modalities of spirituality, of bereavement, starting that grieving process for people, and the medical side, treating symptomology. And we're doing it in a comforting way around people that really care about you. So, gotcha. And the other thing is we don't hasten death. Mm-hmm. So we don't come into hospice and just make death happen faster. Mm-hmm. We surround you with people that will give you the symptom management and everything else with that.
Gotcha. How is hospice covered, really quick here? How is it covered people coming in? Payment-wise, I guess, to start there. I mean, that's probably the last thing people are thinking about when they go into hospice care.
Yeah, and it is. And, the Medicare, there's plenty of stuff out there for Medicare. They go to a Medicare hospice benefit, mm-hmm. from a regular Medicare benefit to a Medicare hospice benefit. And without getting too far into the weeds with that, but Medicare, Medicaid, we treat Medicaid patients as well with Every Step. So private insurance as well. It just depends a lot what that person has available. And
Gotcha. Just like another medical service or anything like that to be used insurance-wise. Okay. Rob Paulus with Every Step. Thanks for being here this morning. Really appreciate it.
Thanks. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right. Hey, we'll be right back with more news.